All right, we're live. Supposedly, we did it. So we'll see how it goes. But what's up, y'all? My name's Rob. I am in recovery from a gambling addiction. Made my last bet November the 12th, 2022. Tonight, I'm going to answer your questions about gambling, gambling addiction, and addiction recovery. And if you're in the chat to get us started, I am going to drop a link to today's video where I angrily raged at Kalshi, High Market, FanDuel, and basically all the casinos in existence. Yeah, didn't plan on making a video today, but ended up making one, and it was because they launched these like grocery stores that were essentially just like these marketing ploys so that they could look like they were doing something when they honestly weren't. Um, and that is what it is. So I just need to put a thumbnail on our vertical stream, and then we're good to roll here. So there goes that. We'll see if it adds it or not. I don't know. But what's up, y'all? What's up, my friend? I'm gonna keep going. We keep making content each and every day here on the channel. Hopefully, it can really help some people. But yeah, if you're in the chat early and you have any questions about gambling, gambling addiction, or addiction recovery, feel free to drop them. And of course, the number one way that you can help more people to find this stream is to leave a like on the video. You're gonna hear me a couple times tonight plug subscribing, plug liking, and it's something that I have to do. It's my job. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, but it does help more people to find the stream. What's up, Casey? See, someone else found the stream. It's not just me and City. So welcome to the chat, everybody. To give context, I spent every day gambling for between 8 and 10 hours a day for about 6 years. I started with sports betting, but by the end of my gambling, I had memorized the soundboard of slot machines that I was playing on. It was like the pragmatic play slot machines from Stake and Roulette and stuff like that. The stuff you see streamers playing a lot. Yeah, so it got pretty bad. But now I'm here to talk about it. Hopefully, you can hear my story. You can have your question answered, and you can avoid making the same mistakes with your life that I made with mine, or at least going as far down that path as I did. Not everyone's gonna see a video and be like, "Oh my God, now I'm never gonna gamble again. I'm cured." Like it's not realistic, but I do hope that people can see the content and think like, "Damn, like I don't want to make the same mistakes as Rob. Let me be a little more conscious of what I'm doing." So here we go. Quit gambling, but thinking, what's the point now? I'll be financially mediocre at best in this life. Why not take chances 3 times a week? I get the thought process, right? But it's because your mind has trapped you into thinking that gambling is your only way to get rich. I don't want you to be financially mediocre, my friend. I want you to be successful, find success, start a business, get a good job, whatever it is that you want to do. But the idea that you're going to get there by gambling is the thought that needs to be broken, not the thought that like you want to be mediocre. No one wants to be mediocre, hopefully, right? But if you think that you're going to get there from gambling, just look back on all the past experiences. You've tried to stop gambling. Why? Because you were wildly successful and it worked last time? It's because once we start gambling, we don't stop. So even if we have those big wins, those moments where it feels like we're on top of the world, it's always followed up by bigger losses. All wins are future losses. That's what to shake. Yep, Sweet Bonanza was one of those games. So that's the slot machine that I memorized the soundboard. I legitimately knew the soundboard of Pragmatic Play Slots. That's how bad it was. Don't understand how people think they can make money playing slots. It's wild. I mean, people who have played slots and had a big hit are like probably disagreeing with you right now. But I get it. Like realistically, you're gonna lose all your money if you play a slot for long enough. But it's those short-term wins and the feeling of like, man, I can hit big and then stop and walk away while I'm up. Like these kinds of thoughts keep you going back for more over and over again. So in the long run, I think people realize they're gonna lose, but I think that we believe as gambling addicts that we'll be the exception to any kind of rule we put for ourselves. No, my friend, I don't hate you. In fact, I have interviewed quite a few people who have worked at the casino. And in fact, people who work at the casino tend to get hooked at a higher rate than anyone else. So definitely don't hate you. If you're struggling with a gambling problem, though, it could be worth taking a look at it. Let me know how you found the stream. Let me know. Let me know how you found the stream. Are you here because you want to hear about gambling addiction? Are you here because you want help? Like, what is it? If you guys want to share, like, why are you here? Let me know. Keep count of the days you quit. Beautiful to watch. I don't really wake up and like count the day. What I do is every time I go live, I like Google how many days has it been, and I use it kind of as a reference point for the audience. But there is certainly value in it, especially early on, like stringing together some days because you're seeing some progress, right? it can feel like in the beginning, especially when you quit gambling, it can feel like everything kind of sucks. So seeing some kind of tangible progress, something to be proud of, that's huge. Bro, I've been trying to stop for years. I'm done with all the other casino games like blackjack or dice, but you can't stay away from poker. Do you have any advice? I get these kinds of comments all the time, my friend. So the first thing that I'll ask is, what have you done so far to stay away from those games? What is it that's kept you away? Is it because you're just putting all your money into poker that you don't have any more money to go to those games? Is it because you're now looking to try to make money with poker? What I often find is that people who want to quit will often categorize games in such a way that like some are a problem and others are not. Like, oh man, I only have a roulette problem, but I can sports bet fine because I know about sports. These are the same thing like what you're saying with poker. And what you're doing is you're giving yourself kind of a thread to stay around. You're able to say like, oh, this is different when it's not. In the reality of things, it's all gambling, and at the end of the day, it's all going to lead to the same outcome. But it's really difficult to admit that. It's really difficult to get to the point that you're wanting to fully leave it behind. So my advice is to stop playing poker and then focus on four things. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's a video linked in the description called How to Stop Gambling. It's a complete guide. Basically, the four things are finding alternative things to do with your time, limiting access to money that was tempting you to gamble, going to support group meetings, and self-excluding from the casinos. But I obviously dive deeper into it in the video if you want to watch that. Every win is a future loss really puts things into perspective. I think that a big temptation for people to keep gambling and keep going back to gambling is like seeing other people winning or like thinking, man, that could be me, or thinking like, oh man, if I just made that bet, I would have won and then I would have been happy. When in reality, we've won many times, right? Like we wouldn't get hooked to gambling if every single time we lost money. That would be ridiculous. But in the end, that is what eventually happens. And so you need to recognize like, with continued play, it doesn't matter what happens between the start and the finish. The end result's always going to be the same. Will the US ban online gambling in the future? My thoughts, who knows? Who knows? I doubt it, honestly. Any update on my battle with Kalshi? Watch today's video on the channel. I raged about them, but no update. I haven't seen an ad for them yet since that point. So if you do see any kind of Kalshi prize picks, Polymarket ads, and obviously any other casino, please comment on the video. I saw a casino ad for blank, because then I can send them a cease and desist. I can threaten to sue them. I can sue them. And in fact, all it would do would be great content to sue them. Like people would think, oh, will you be scared to sue this billion-dollar company? No, I would love it if I had a legitimate reason to sue them. So they're asking for a problem by advertising on this page. I can tell you that. All right, day 2, the urge is intense. Chris, why is the urge intense? Let me know what you're thinking in the chat. I'm going to need some more context before I can help out. Are you feeling bored? Are you feeling tempted to try to make money back? Like, what is it that's giving you the temptation? And if you're finding it hard not to want to play slots or not to want to gamble, that means that you've probably developed a gambling addiction, and you've reached this point where you feel like gambling is the only thing that brings you joy. Now, the good news is that kind of rectifies itself with time away from gambling. Your brain redevelops to the point where you feel pleasure in smaller things again. The bad news is that can take a little bit. And so in the interim, it's going to feel like everything sucks, like nothing's as good as gambling. You're detoxing, right? Your brain is readapting back to a normal way of thinking and living. Got to be patient with it. And I understand that that genuinely sucks. I know. I've been through it too. Am I against taking advantage of sportsbook promo offers? I'm not even going to finish reading that. Yes, I'm against doing the free bets and the promo offers. You are giving yourself an excuse to stay around, and eventually you will get tempted and give it all back. They're not giving you that promo offer because they like you. They're not giving you that promo offer because they think they're going to lose money. They are re-engaging you to make you an active customer and take you for all that you're worth. There's no such thing as a real free bet. I'll tell you that. Oh, I see people are leaving likes on the video. Please do me a favor and leave a like on the video. Consider following or subscribing no matter whatever platform you're watching on. It does help more people to find the content, and thus more questions coming in tonight. The saddest thing about trying to stop gambling is that it's everywhere. It's on the back of buses, on the ad, on billboards. It is awful. It is awful, my friend. It genuinely is awful. And the reason that it's happening is because a lot of money is being made. We're in a really bad position. Now, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to quit. It just means you're around more temptations. It's like they tell people in Alcoholics Anonymous not to go into a bar if you don't want to drink. Well, for gamblers now, everything's a bar. Your phone is the bar for your addiction, right? It's very difficult, not impossible, but it's yes, it's becoming an increasingly large issue, which is why I have this channel because more people than ever before are going to be gambling because they're being exposed to it as normal, and it is genuinely scary. 3 weeks clean, it's actually been joyful to sit there and check sports scores, especially the NBA, and notice how unpredictable it is. It's impossible to win truly. It's a good perspective. It's good to come to the conclusion that the more you know about sports, it doesn't mean that you're going to make money gambling on it. That's a huge one. Now, what I'll also just toss out there, and I don't know you, I don't know kind of what's going through your head on a day to day. I did the same thing, but what I was doing was giving myself an excuse to keep looking at gambling lines and keep myself around the bet. So just be honest with yourself. Are you checking the scores because you are making mind bets? If you're making mind bets, you're kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out on actually staying away from the gambling. It's a very thin line. It's very easy to cross if you see, oh, I would have won these 5 games. I can't believe I didn't go back. Maybe I'll go back and it'll be different. Then we go back and it's always the same. So just be careful. I'm at a point right now where I cannot have a debit card or any kind of cash. Do you think it's a good idea to just keep the debit card at home and just use your phone for paying for things? Yeah, whatever works for you, Greg. I mean, like legitimately, whatever kind of financial controls you can put in place to reduce your temptation to gamble, whatever way that happens, like that's a W. That's all I can think. Problem with poker is that it's accepted as a game of skill when in reality it will rob you of time and money in the long run and you will feel unproductive. You were here last week. You were saying some really good stuff, and there you are again. You're on a good streak with these comments, for real. Let's see. I banned myself in the city, so I rarely get the urge to gamble, although I go out my city every now and again to fuel the addiction. Do you think that's bad, even if it's once in a while? Yes. If you're addicted to gambling, gambling once in a while is going to be a bad thing. Yes. There's no reduced gambling. There's no normal way of gambling for us once we've crossed that line into a gambling addiction. And that's why the idea of responsible gambling always makes me like want to fucking puke because it's just a lie that is told. Like once you've crossed that line, you cannot gamble like a normal person. That's the reality. There's no learning how to gamble responsibly after that point. After 5 months clean, I relapsed and lost my last $700 and the first cushion I've been able to build since I quit. Jane, what was it that sent you back to the bed? Let's talk about it because this just reading this sentence, it doesn't do us any good, right? We need to know what it was that sent you back. If we know what sent you back, we can address it so that the next time things can go differently. So let's work on that next. What's up, guys? I'm doing well. For those that don't know me, my name is Rob, and I'm in recovery from a gambling addiction. I made my last bet November the 12th of 2022. I've lived it. I've been there. And now I'm here to share my story of gambling addiction in hopes that you don't make the same mistake with your life that I made with mine. So, and if I missed your question, please just drop it again. I'm doing my best to keep up with it, but we got a pretty good chat cooking tonight. Hopefully, we get some more people in here as more people leave likes on the video too. Is there such a thing as winning in sports in sports betting? No, not in the long run. You're going to eventually lose. People will argue that, but those same people are not winning either. So that is what it is. I'm 5 years sober from all mind altering drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes included. And right now, I feel like I am in the biggest addiction of my life with slot machines. And it's like you said earlier, going to take a while for other things to make you happy. That sounds like the classic giving up one thing to pick up another one addiction, right? Like when I first quit gambling, I wanted to drink more. And I found myself in these horribly unhealthy patterns and habits. And it's just because I wasn't addressing the root cause. I was still just trying to find some instant gratification to feel better. Greg, through the 5 years of sobriety, have you been working steps? Have you been going to group meetings? Like, let me know in the chat. It's the same approach for gambling. We have Gamblers Anonymous the same way that there's Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous. If you think poker is a game of skill, then I cannot help you. Like, I cannot convince you otherwise. You have to accept reality for what it is yourself. And that's why, like, it's always frustrating when I have content on this channel and people say this kind of thing, not because, like, I'm mad at you, but just because there's nothing that I can do to help you if you believe that what you're doing is not gambling. Like, I can try to show you based on the reality of what's going to happen. I can point out that when you go through these horrible lows that, it's a bad thing and you should be self-reflecting during those points. But if you don't want to quit, you're going to say things like this to yourself. And it's frustrating as the creator, it's frustrating as someone in recovery, but this is the reality of this addiction. From the Philippines, always watch the videos. Thank you, my friend. I know the Philippines has a pretty bad gambling problem, as does America and, most of the rest of the world. So here we go. Went to my first GA meeting, 12/4 in Las Vegas after stumbling across the channel. 60 days of abstinence. Congratulations, my friend. And I'm really happy that the video was able to help out in that initial decision-making process, right? Like, when I make content on this channel, I know I'm not gonna cure anyone, but what I do hope is that, like, something that I say can help you to become motivated to go to a group meeting, and this is, like, exactly the goal. So, congratulations, my friend. How common do you think it is statistically for someone who uses slots as a way of escaping other problems, so not have to face uh, like, how many people use slots to escape other problems? For a while, there was kind of 2 archetypes for gamblers with addictions. It was action gamblers and escape gamblers, and so those stereotypes were basically action gamblers were blackjack, poker, sports bettors, whereas escape gamblers were more the slot machine players, and so it was the large majority of slot machine players that were gambling as a sense of escape or numbing out of the rest of the world. I don't claim to know these statistics behind why each individual or large group of people would use a slot machine, but it's certainly accomplished by the machine itself is to kind of space you out from the outside world. 100%. Been on a stop start for 2 years. You were up and you don't think it was greed. You stopped for 5 days, intending to stop forever, but eventually went back and lost in a month. That's what happens. All wins are future losses, my friend. We can't like half ass it, right? We can't say like, oh, you know what, it's gonna be different. I'll just bet a little bit. I'll just do this game and not this game. It always ends that way in the end, unfortunately. I am sorry to hear that it happened. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate hearing that. I work hard to make the content that's on this page, and so it's always nice to hear nice things because sometimes I don't hear nice things. you know, sometimes I just don't get the good comments. Sometimes we get the bad comments. It is what it is. Okay, let's see. My brother's wife wanted to buy something, and my brother didn't have the money at the moment. She said, try to gamble and win it, knowing his situation. Not great. But I think that specifically, a lot of people are believing that gambling is a means by which to become financially secure. And I think that's super dangerous. Gambling companies will say, "Oh, we're just entertainment. It's fine because like you're not supposed to do anything crazy. You just bet responsibly." Blah blah blah. Well, people are trying to get rich from gambling, and that's a major major problem. Even if you did win money at poker, it's toxic, and many others lost. You're eventually going to lose it anyway. Like that's the point of debate that I just like. It's like beating a dead horse. Like it's kind of unnecessary. But if you gamble, you're going to lose money. Like it's just that simple. People hate hearing that because it directly questions maybe what they were doing or about to start doing for the rest of the night. But it is what it is. How long did I quit? I haven't gambled since November the 12th of 2022. But there were many times, Casey, over the course of the years that I was gambling where I tried to quit and I relapsed. Certainly. So when you have a relapse, what you need to ask yourself is why did this happen? What kind of triggers happened that made me relapse? And it could be boredom, it could be financial insecurity, it could be too much financial like excess, right? You could have too much money sitting around and feel like, oh, you know what? What's one little bet? There's lots of things that can tempt you to gamble. What's important when it comes to these relapses and urges is to figure out what's going on so that you can adjust your plan of recovery to account for it the next time. So if you feel like, damn, like I really wanted to gamble because I was bored, well, next time you get bored, and you will get bored, you need to have a plan of what you're going to do. Oh, I gambled because I had too much access to money. Well, get rid of that access to money so that next time you have a temptation, you don't have the money to waste, right? Yeah, it is what it is. So, Greg, read the conversation about going to meetings. This is a bit of a long one, my friend. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, bit of a long one to read for the audience here. However, if you had a home group before setting up meetings and you don't know what took place, yeah, it could be the lack of meetings that's leading to a lot of the temptations, to be honest. Gambling is my biggest problem. It's holding me back from my full potential. It's taken everything from me and destroyed so many relationships. Thankfully, I've got some great friends and family, but I'm just barely holding it together, and the debt and mess I've created is very overwhelming. Michael, I'm very sorry to hear what you're going through. I did it too. I know the exact feeling, and it feels like you're living a shell of the life that you deserve to live. I'm really happy that you have good friends and family and a good support system. That's going to be integral in the recovery process. But what's important to know is that it's never too late to begin the process of leaving gambling behind. If you go over to the YouTube channel, I know you commented on Facebook, go over to the YouTube channel. There is a video called How to Stop Gambling. For those watching the stream on YouTube, it's in the description of this video. It's my absolute best stuff. And if you watch it, it goes through everything that I've done for the last 3 years to get and stay clean. Mm. Was awarded some spins, you won a bonus, then you tried to withdraw, you wagered too much, breaching the terms of the bonus. Yeah, you're never gonna win. No matter what, the casinos always find a way to take it from you. That is what it is. Cynthia, I get comments like this all the time, and I specifically call them out. You wanna know how much I won. Why do you wanna know how much I won? What I find is people ask the question of what was your biggest bet? What was your biggest win? What was your biggest loss? When they want to hear that the number was bigger than what they lost. Because if I used if I lost more money than you, you'll tell yourself that you're not as bad as me. You don't have an addiction. I, Rob, have the addiction. You, Cynthia, don't. And I'm just using you as an example. Lots of people do this. Instead of talking about the dollar amounts, which are pretty much irrelevant because I spent everything that I had access to, everything that I won, I ended up putting back in. I tell you, I went into debt 6 times over the course of 6 years to the point that I had to work a second job to pay off that debt. And if that doesn't explain it to you, you likely don't need to be here yet. What was your main goal when I was sports betting? It's interesting. So in the beginning, it was like, "Well, this looks fun." Then it was, "Oh my god, this looks like a way to make money." At the time, I was working at an ice cream store. I was making 8.38 an hour, and the idea that you could win $100 watching an Eagles game was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever," right? So then it became like, "All right, I have good grades. I'm supposed to go to a good school. I'm supposed to get a good job, blah blah blah." But I don't feel too happy that I am kind of being told what to do. Maybe I can just become a professional sports bettor. And then I can do what I want. I can live the life of my dreams. I don't have to have a boss or work a normal job. It was that kind of thing, right? So it became kind of like a challenge, an identity, a purpose, but it was all based around trying to get rich. And I thought that I could become a professional. There are certainly links between OCD, ADHD, and autism with gambling. Certainly. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be able to properly explain that to you, but yes, there is a correlation between them. Was I more of a sports bettor at the casino? So most of my gambling was online, but I did pretty much everything. I started with daily fantasy sports, but by the end of my gambling, I memorized the soundboard of slot machines that I was playing. Well, interestingly, the question of like which one was worse, I don't really think that any particular gambling is worse than any other particular gambling. It's my belief that you're just gonna lose your money wherever you develop a preference for it. Like, if you really like baccarat, your baccarat's gonna be the worst for you compared to your other types of gambling, right? But at the end of the day, it's just like that's where you're spending your time and money. That's where you're gonna lose it. So I think there's certainly games that get you addicted at a higher rate, like slots is supposedly the most addicting. It's the crack cocaine of gambling, but to be honest, you're just gonna lose wherever you play. That's kind of my take on that. So, guys, do me a favor, leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content. And if it's your first time running into me, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I make content every single day aimed at helping you to avoid making the same mistake with your life that I made with mine. Let's see. Nathaniel, thank you for the love, my friend. Gambling is definitely a growing problem with young men. I think it's being sold as like this solution to every like popular problem that young men in particular have, like feeling behind financially, just come gamble, feeling lonely, like talk with your friends about sports betting, feeling like you have no purpose, well, become a professional. Like it's just presenting all these false solutions. And I think it's really, really bad. Nick, thanks for being here. You relapsed. Your last wager was 125.26. Well, welcome to the recovery community. I'm happy that you're here. If you relapse, figure out what it was that sent you back. So let me know in the chat what it was that tempted you to go back to gambling if you had a relapse. So you're not going to make the money back by gambling, my friend. This is a message to everyone, not just the guy from India who lost it on cricket. This could be like literally losing it anywhere. You're not going to make it back by gambling more. The way I made my money back was by working 2 jobs for 6 months following the last day that I bet. So doing my best to keep up with the questions, but if I miss it, just feel free to ask it again. We got our first great hate comment. Thank you so much. You don't have a degree. I didn't know they gave out degrees in being a degenerate, but if they did, I'd probably get an honorary one. So no one has to take me seriously. No one has to listen to what I say. But if you're here, I'm someone in recovery from a gambling addiction, and I spent 6 years doing something horrible. I don't want to see you make the same mistake. Listen to me. Don't listen to me. I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. So, anonymous guy, happy that you're here. Hope you come back when you're ready for help. What do I say to someone who wants to start sports betting? I don't really give an opinion. I mean, I'm obviously going to sound like I'm biased either way, right? They're going to say like, "Oh, sports betting good." I'm going to say, "Fuck no." But like, people got to do what people got to do, right? What I tell them is to come back if they ever want to stop. I don't really have a favorite band, but I'm excited for the Bad Bunny halftime show. I don't even speak Spanish, but those songs are all bangers. When a new live casino or app becomes available, do you ignore them now or make a point to self-exclude? Randall, I really don't think about it that much, so I just like, I haven't gambled in 3 years, man. It's just not a very conscious thought to like self-exclude from everything that pops up. Sometimes I don't even know what pops up, but I got to learn for the content, right? So no, I don't. But I'm not really tempted to gamble. I hate the gambling industry so much. If you watch my most recent YouTube video where I scream into the mic for 8 minutes about how much I hate them, I think it'll become apparent why I'm not needing to be too preemptive with it. Mm. What was your motivation when you had to pay your gambling debt the first months of not gambling? I lived the same life, the same day on repeat for 6 years. It was a horrible way to live. And by the end of it, I realized that if I kept gambling, it was always going to end the same way. So there was always the temptation of like, I want to pay this off really fast. All I need is one big win. But I've had that happen before and it didn't fix the problem. So my motivation was fuck, like I just ruined my life. I don't want to keep doing this. And it sucked and it was just a miserable experience, but we made it through. If you think that you're going to be able to just gamble small amounts as a gambling addict, do what you got to do and then come back. So that is what it is. I was working full time as a finance guy, which is interesting. Finance for a hospital. That was just like basic data entry, and then I was working at a bar as a bartender. I was a terrible bartender. I'm vaguely unemployable. I got too much of an attitude. I don't listen to instructions well. Um, and at the time, I was not a very happy camper either. But we made it through. And if you believe this, my friend, I like legitimately, I'm just so happy that you're here. Like I believed this too, and I wouldn't make a fake account because I'm not a loser, but I would have commented similar things on other people's posts during my gambling addiction, and I get it. So no love. I guess that was a Freudian slip. No love, no hate. It is what it is. See you soon. Did I use betting as a form of escape? For me, yes, to a certain extent. When I was having problems, I would gamble, but during my gambling, like I just developed such a strong pattern of behavior to the gambling that, like, I didn't think about how I felt. I just knew that I was gonna get up and I was gonna gamble. So, like, I didn't have triggers, I didn't have emotional cues to start me gambling. I was just gambling from the moment I woke up to the moment that I went to bed. It's just become my, like, muscle memory. Trying to quit gambling, but my debts keep luring me into it again, thinking I can get something out to settle some. How's that played out so far? How's that played out in the past? If you start to use the mantra that all wins are future losses, you'll never have this temptation. Much love, my friend. I appreciate you. It's not easy at all. Sorry, I got a text at the same time. Uh, whack. Okay, let me turn on my do not disturb so I can focus on you, lovely lot. Appreciate you guys being here, for leaving comments in the chat, and of course for leaving likes on the video as it helps more people to find the stream. How long did it take for your urge to go away after you made your last bet? Mm, it's not like it was so clean to like the point where I could say like a specific date, but I really stopped feeling major temptations probably 5 5 months after the last bet. I would say like regularly feeling temptations. We'll get a Super Bowl ad in the next couple years. Don't worry, Josh. We'll get there, and we don't need to crowdfund it. We'll get the money. Don't stress. Have I considered making a history of gambling vid? It's been present in society for thousands of years and something deeply human. It could be interesting because I think that what it would show, well, I'm confident that what it would show is that gambling before was something that happened kind of on the outskirts of society. It was something that you did with your friends. It was something that was just supposed to be fun. Whereas now it's big business built on the back of addiction. I actually think it would make for a great before and after, but it wouldn't be framed as a timeline of a gambling history. It would be the before and after if I was to make it. So someone else might make that in a way that would be more like what you would watch before you go to sleep, like YouTube video. Mine would be more of like the gambling companies have destroyed us. The relentless advertising that always brings you back, it's because you're still listening to the ads. When you see a gambling ad, like, what is the thought that you have versus what should you have if you wanna stay away? If you're thinking, "Wow, that looks like a great offer, I wanna go back, it's so tempting," then you really might not be in a good spot right now. Maybe you need to go to a meeting every single day. Maybe you need therapy. Maybe you need counseling. Maybe you need treatment. Whereas if you see a gambling ad the way I see a gambling ad, it's bait on a fishing hook, trying to reel you in, trying to take you for all that you're worth, trying to play you for a sucker. Yeah, there's a lot of gambling ads. Yeah, it's annoying. Make it an annoyance rather than a temptation in your mind. And on the topic of treatment, if you're someone that's looking to get help for a gambling problem, today's video is actually brought to you by my partner, Right Choice Recovery. They're linked in the description of this YouTube video. They're a family owned and operated treatment center in New Jersey, but they also offer online recovery coaching in the United States. So check them out. Had to plug it, just felt natural there. They've been in the description the whole time. Just trying to make cash in the content and make money out of it. Don't lie. Yes, because it's so profitable to talk about not gambling. Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. I hate gambling. It's destroyed my finances. I took out so many payday loans and now I owe everyone. Appreciate the videos. Keith, thanks for the love on the videos. Sorry to hear about the financial situation. You know, it's the four things that you got to focus on to get better. Whatever happened in the past happened in the past. It doesn't have to keep happening. If you focus on finding alternatives for your time that mean something to you, limiting your access to money that's tempting you by having some kind of financial blocks in place. I had my mom managing my bank account at first. Like that's what it took for me. Self-excluding from the casinos to make it more difficult to access, and of course, going to group meetings. These four things strung together make a huge impact. It was exactly what I did to quit. Do you think these are things we should be taught in school or by our parents coming out of the world independently? I mean, I don't think it has to be one or the other. It could be both. It's interesting because there's going to be a portion of the population that would say teaching it in schools is going to tempt kids to gamble, but I think we're already kind of like past that shit anyway. Like everything that kids are seeing is gambling, and so I don't think it would be a bad thing at all. Makes you want to get an old flip phone. Yeah. I feel like you need to move to the country and be an Amish person. I know someone that froze their phone in a block of ice for the first like 2 weeks. I doubt the phone worked after that. I never actually asked him that. It would be a good thing to ask. People do absurd stuff to try to stay away from gambling. Whatever works for them works for them. But yeah, with all the temptation that's available on the phone, I mean, that could go for a lot of different addictions, right? It could be for screen time addiction. Like the phone gives you access to a lot of things that you can use to damage your life. Does that mean you have to have a flip phone to recover? No, but it is what it is. Am I finding more trolling posts as the social media presence increases? Randall, I would actually say it's like maybe I'm just becoming numb to it, but like it was more noticeable for me in the beginning. I guess when you get like 3 comments instead of 300, you notice things more. It's probably the same ratio, to be honest. Saw you last weekend on the documentary that Vice did on gambling. Thanks for watching, my friend. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I think they finally, like a company finally did a good job covering this topic. So often people will focus on the wrong things, or it's too surface level. It's not well done. It's not well funded. I think they did a good job. So I was proud to be a part of it. I hope that it can, make a difference. This is really dangerous thinking because what's going to happen next time that you're in debt is that you're going to say, "Oh, I can gamble again to fix it, and then I'll just do the same thing." Eventually, this kind of thinking will collapse. This will lead to absolute financial ruin. Um, so come back when you're ready, my friend. I'm genuinely sorry. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong, but I've seen it play out. I did it too. All wins are future losses. If you take nothing else from my content, just remember that. I feel like I need to plug that in every video. It doesn't matter if you win because eventually you're going to lose it. How do I handle love how you handle these haters. Thanks, my friend. I don't even consider them haters because I was in the same position. Um, no, again, like not the exact same position because I'm not making like anonymous accounts to troll someone, but I was in a position where if someone called me out on my gambling, I like really disagreed with them. I would be like, "What are you talking about? You're wrong. You don't know me. You're just a bad gambler." Like some of the same things that I hear. So rather than viewing it as negativity, what I view it as is opportunity, and it may very well, it may very well. I lost my train of thought. Appreciate you. Thanks for the love on the content. Is gambling 10% of your monthly income too much? Are you addicted to gambling? If yes, then gambling 0.01% of your monthly income is too much. Is there a new form of gambling you've been hearing about since you stopped gambling? A prediction markets for sure, even though I think that it's just a sports book and they call it something else legally. But yeah, I guess that's the new one, right? You quit gambling, but now realizing with taxes and realizing how punitive they are towards gambling. Do you deal with this at all or any advice? Likely have to itemize your losses. No, I really don't have any advice on this. I'm sorry. But the system wasn't designed for you to make money gambling. That's for sure. Let's see. If you have any questions about gambling, gambling addiction, or addiction recovery, drop them in the chat. And do me a favor, if you're watching this and you haven't yet hit the subscribe button, please consider doing so. It's free. It helps to support the channel. If you support the channel, more people see the content, more people see the content, more people ask questions, more people support the channel. And we get a giant load of people who get help. I'm on a tangent. Jesus. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Highly recommend a recovery program, Celebrate Recovery for me, and a strong group of accountability. 100%. I went to Gamblers Anonymous. I think that was perfect for me. So, whatever works for you, but definitely finding a community of people in recovery is huge. The sponsors just lining up to buy ads here. You're not wrong, even if it was like poking fun. I've had to send Kalshi a cease and desist. I had to message the head of responsible gambling at Prize Picks. I'll probably have to end up drafting a suit against a couple of them. And it's hard to explain from like a creator to non-creator perspective, but when you make YouTube videos, you get to choose what ads show up on your video like within a certain range of like control. And YouTube's going to put ads on the video regardless of if you get paid for them or not. Like the videos will have ads on them. And the categories that I've blocked, like I've blocked every conceivable category for any of these businesses to advertise if they're telling the truth about what they advertise as. And yet we still see Kalshi ads, we still see Polymarket ads, we still see Prize Picks ads showing up on videos about gambling addiction. They are literally listing themselves as like home gardening advice like ads. I have no idea how they keep getting through. I've blocked them so many times. It's ridiculous, and they take advantage of it because they know that the people watching this content are going to be easier to convince to gamble than other groups. It's horrible. Did you ever sell stuff to gamble and then lose all that money too? Yes, very often, my friend. Very, very often. And that was one of the ways that I was depositing money to my casinos online. It was like I would buy NFTs, sell the NFT with debit card or credit card. I would sell the NFTs for crypto and then use the crypto to transfer over. I don't even remember why I was doing that instead of just buying it directly on Coinbase, but there must have been a reason. Maybe I put some kind of block in place and I was working myself around. David, why do you keep relapsing? Like, what are the reasons that you've gone back? Let me know in the chat because I don't have any advice until I know why. If you're gonna switch your phone for a smartphone for a dumb phone and it's gonna help you stop gambling, then you do you, my friend. Like whatever does it. Whenever I see these, thanks for the donut. Thank you for that. Whenever I see these, I have to like read it in my head. The very first time that I went live, I read one of these out loud and it was like a slur. And I was like, oh man, it was like 10 seconds in. And I learned not to just read everything out loud. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it is. I got it. Good one. Good one. Appreciate you nonetheless. Randall, I've just done it for every day for 3 years now. It's just volume game. It's not that I'm peaceful by any means or have a good temper by any means. I've just been through it enough. Have you discussed pseudo investment gambling problems like crypto? I mean, yeah, it's come up on the channel quite a few times. We've talked about stock trading, options trading, commodities, uh, crypto, leverage trading. We talked about a bunch of them. And what I think the problem is like people convince themselves that they're more highbrow like, "Oh, this is investing, this is a financial market, this isn't gambling, like, there's people playing slots," when in reality, they're doing the same thing. Um, difficult situation, I would say, but, yeah, it's come up quite a few times. Lost everything, I'm 47, went to rehab a few times, still can't figure this out. What are the things that have sent you back? Like, are you bored and you're going back? Is gambling your purpose and you're going back? Like, what is it that's sending you back to gambling? Because we really, like, people say, I relapsed, I did XYZ, but I have no idea why it happened, right? I can only take my best guess. I don't know you. Mhm. Just read an article that the state of Pennsylvania gambling revenue hit a record high for the fifth year in a row. I'm sure we're gonna see a sixth and then a seventh. It's just, I hate myself. It's just endless, right? Like, it's big businesses with the kind of the goal given by their shareholders or by, if it's a state, is to increase revenue year over year. How is that going to happen? By getting more gambling addicts to lose all their money. What's up, my friend? Doing well. Happy to have you here. Should gambling be illegal? I don't know. What should be illegal is the advertising. Like, I don't really have a stance on whether gambling should be legal or not because then it just becomes like, oh, Rob, you sucked at gambling, so now you want everyone to not be able to gamble. Like, I don't really care what everyone else does. But when I see these companies putting out the amount of advertising that they put out, sucking in new customers at the rate that they are, causing so much addiction where people who are gambling would otherwise have not gambled without all the advertisements, that's what I think the problem is. So I think that's the point to focus on rather than the uh, the gambling legality itself. Mhm. Seriously love it. That's the problem. Well, I mean, you wouldn't develop an addiction to something you hated, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So I think that it's okay to feel that way, and I certainly felt that way too during my gambling. What you need to realize is like, or ask yourself rather, is what I'm getting from gambling worth what gambling is giving me? When you gamble and it goes horribly wrong, are you able to live with those 0 out of 10 days that might come with those 10 out of 10 days once every month? For me, it reached the point where I wasn't willing to keep ruining my life just for the chance at not ruining my life, right? Like, everything that I wanted to get from gambling was the exact opposite of what I got. Like, I wanted financial freedom and I ended up in debt. I wanted freedom of choice and I ended up having to work 2 jobs. Like, I hated having a boss and gambling gave me 2. So, yeah, um, we need to recognize that gambling is the false profit. It's the cheap way out that's not even a way out. What I learned about myself after I quit gambling, what's changed since, I learned I'm addicted to it. I'm an incredibly impulsive person with a temper problem. What has changed? I've tried to find healthier outlets for those things and tried to stop ruining my life in the pursuit of making a good life. So, not every day is a good day, but every day is a day that I can feel and not just be my mood determined by LeBron hitting a half court shot, losing me a bunch of money. Is there a potential legal battle between sports books and online prediction markets? It's like Thanos battling the Joker, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. Um, is this going to reduce the gambling advertising? No. If anything, it's going to double it. Like, they'll just both be advertising. No shot. You're a very positive person though for thinking such things. See, when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? This is what makes my job so hard. I don't know any resources in Ghana. Like, I'm sorry, I don't. I know there's, oh, what's it called? Gamble Aware NG, I think. There's one group in Nigeria. They may provide continent-wide resources, but like I legitimately don't have any resources outside of the United States and English. I guess English first resources would be like gamblersinrecovery.com. They have meetings. When I first tried to quit, how long did it take to not relapse? I mean, that's a tough question, I guess, to answer, but I tried to quit many, many times and relapse many, many times. November the 12th, 2022 was my last bet, so I would say, like, I guess February 8th, 2022, I went from there until November the 12th. So, you got a Calciad on the Vice documentary. Am I surprised? No. Disappointed? Yes. I didn't get really bad until I started gambling online. Online gambling, kinda speeds up the rate of play. It causes the same damage, but it happens a lot faster, and that's the real danger of it. Like, instead of having to drive to the casino, you can lose your life savings, what, taking a dump on the toilet in the morning. Is what it is. Jack, appreciate this question. I'll tell you about the last day that I gambled. It kind of sums up kind of where I was at by the end. I went on a 12-hour gambling binge where I put myself into debt for the next 6 months working 2 jobs. That day, I had taken out cash advances and I had all the money in my pocket with my phone. And I reached into my pocket to grab my phone and all the money fell out onto the floor. And I freaked out and I was trying to pick everything up. And I was like, oh my God, like I just dropped all this money. I hope no one robs me. I hope no one saw that. And then I picked everything up and I had the thought of like, man, I should just throw the money back on the floor because I'm going to go out there and lose all of this money. And that's exactly what I did. And I just went for 12 hours, game after game. Of course, I didn't lose every time I placed a bet, but by the end of the 12 hours, I had nothing left. 6 months of debt, 12 hours of not even fun. Felt like a grind. So that was pretty terrible. So I'm going to grab a tissue real quick. Feel free to ask any questions that you got about gambling, gambling addiction, addiction recovery. This was big for the team. Apologies. Had to do it. I was holding that sneeze for 15 minutes now. I'm allergic to my cat. Love him though. How often do you get people saying they want to quit gambling for religious reasons? Almost never. Almost never. Happy for them if they get to that point though. I learned the lesson that basically learning a lesson because of what happened is the best way that you can kind of package what happened with you into a positive. Every day I come online and I talk about my gambling addiction, which you would think like, oh, he doesn't want to talk about it. He wants to move on in his life. And, there's a part of me that says yes, but there's another part of me that gets a lot of value out of doing this. So learning lessons from your mistakes rather than beating the crap out of yourself is huge. If you can't watch sports because of the urge to gamble, you are not a sports fan. You are not a sports fan. That's okay. It doesn't matter at all, but you're not. If you cannot watch a game without the urge to gamble, you are a gambling fan. And that's fine. Don't watch the sports. It's new season of Stranger Things. Check that out. But like, I used to think I was a huge sports fan. Then I realized that I couldn't watch a sport without gambling on it. So I thought, like, am I really a sports fan? Or am I just a fan of the bets I can place while watching this game? So like, yeah, kinda. But I only really watch like playoff games of my Philly teams, and that's about it. It's just not that interesting. I used to really care. Not, I mean, I still like playing sports. I like the competition. I like, playing basketball, pickleball, but I can live without watching an Eagles game. I can tell you that. Bit of a snooze fest. Even though it's like still my team, I'll still watch them if they're in the playoffs. I started off with daily fantasy sports, then it was sports betting, then it was poker, then it was blackjack, then it was all casino games, it was slots, and by the end, I'd memorized the soundboard of slot machines that I was playing on, and yeah, so pretty much everything. My allergy to Snorlax, which is my cat's name, is very much a me problem and not his. Totally, he doesn't care at all. He sheds all day long. We just got this thing; it like scoops up all the hair. I'm just gonna start following him around with it. It's gonna be great. ADHD people who are not gamblers but use gambling for dopamine hits, they're gamblers. I don't under this is a trick question. Wh- wh- What? I don't even understand the question. So they gamble to get dopamine hits, but they're not gamblers? Well, how does that work? I don't can you please ask the question again? 'Cause I don't understand. I don't understand. If there's no massive change like making it illegal or enforce regulations, then gambling is going to be a massive plague on society. Countries where it is not allowed, gambling is not an issue. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I think we're heading towards the worst epidemic of addiction the world has ever seen. It is what it is. Pokemon cards, collectibles, and stuff like that certainly can be addictive. It depends on the reasoning that people are doing it, what they're getting out of it, like what's making them feel. But opening something that you paid a certain amount for, and then hoping to get more value from it. I mean, that's literally just a loot box. It's literally gambling. So um, they could be priming people if not properly educated. But say you really like Pikachu and you want to collect a Pikachu card. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bad thing if you're like gambling to chase it, maybe. But like going to a card collecting shop and like buying a card because you like it, I don't think that's a problem. So, couple plugs. If you're here, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. I make content every single day, hoping to help you not go down the same path with your life that I went down with mine. It's free. It really helps us to spread the message here on the channel and lets us keep making videos for every single day. Additionally, this video is brought to you by Right Choice Recovery. They're in the description of this video here on YouTube. They are my partners, and I really believe in what they do. If you're looking for gambling treatment or recovery coaching, check them out. Why can't they make a universal USA self-exclusion process and not only in a state? Because that would be way too helpful, right? Why haven't they done it? Money. If they don't have to do it, casinos wouldn't do it, right? It would make them make less money. So until they're forced to do it, they're not going to do it. Vivid colors as a marketing tool, yeah. I mean, slot machines are usually designed to be resembling or like literally themed as things that you watched or played as a kid. Our nostalgia is a big part of it as well. Yeah, thanks for the love. We need more positive messaging like this and recovery support in the coming years. I would tell anyone that feels like wanting to share their story. One, you can share your story on this channel. I'll put my email in the description in case you want to share. Send me an email. But also, like, go ahead and start making some videos. Share your story online. It's going to help someone. There's so many people that think that they're the only person on earth that has a gambling problem. In reality, you're one of many, and it's sad. But so many people feel alone. Gambling's been part of my identity for 20 years. Learning to live without it's going to be a challenge. How long did it take to feel free and liberated? Not every day is rainbow sunshine, feeling wonderful and happy days, but it took me about probably 6 months before I felt like I was finally making progress again because gambling was also my identity. Um, and I can relate to that. I know exactly how it feels. But it's going to be different for everyone, right? You've been gambling for 20 years. Maybe it takes you a little bit longer. I was gambling for 6 years, right? Keep stringing days together. You'll find other things that you care about and you'll develop a new identity. We're malleable people. Our brains can be reshaped, they can be reworked. You can grow, you can live a good life, and gambling doesn't have to be a part of it. Oops, that's my email. I was never really into horse racing. I went to Belmont track once on the way to Canada. I thought it was like I gambled. I don't think I didn't gamble. I did that, but this really wasn't my thing. Troll man, I love you. I appreciate the love. Sometimes we need to hear it. We do a reaction vid of Sopranos gambling addict scenes. Huh. So I've never seen it. So that's why I instantly didn't say yes. But it could be an interesting video idea to do reactions to popular. I'm gonna write this down. Reactions to movies, shows with gambling addiction scenes. Could be good. I don't watch too many sports. It's just not that interesting. I'll still watch championship games, playoff games with teams that I like, but it's like you took your favorite spice out of your favorite food. It just doesn't taste the same. And that's okay. You don't have to watch sports to be happy. There's so many other things that you can do with your time, with your energy, with your attention. It's like it's just not that. It's just not that big of a deal, to be fair. So, if you guys have questions about gambling, gambling addiction, addiction recovery, drop them in the chat. When I talk with younger people struggling with gambling, are you finding an increasing connection with gambling and social media addiction? I think that's natural to just kind of see it's really hard to correlate that, because everyone's doing social media and so many people are gambling. What I do think a major problem is that social media has changed the perception of gambling for a lot of younger people. They think it's a way to make money. They only see people winning. If they're losing, it's a joke. It's not that big of a deal. Their favorite influencers gamble. It's just appearing to be such a great thing with little to no consequence. So I think that's skewing people's perception of gambling, and that's why I think young people in general don't view sports betting as gambling. They view it as investing, which I think is really scary. Um, it's definitely we're definitely on track for a pretty bad future. The next generation could be cooked. To be fair, watching from Singapore. Well, thanks for watching, my friend. I don't know what time it is there. Is it really early in the morning? Is it like 7:30 in the morning or something like that? Appreciate you taking the time to tune in and hear what I had to say. I'm just some random guy making TikToks out of his mom's basement. Well, now it's my own basement. We leveled up. But I used to say, yeah, I'm just some guy making TikToks out of my mom's basement. What could I possibly do? Let's see. I've been gambling for 15 years now and constantly losing, but at the same time, I believe I can win, so I can't quit. Any advice? I can't make you quit. Dimitar, I mean, dude, if you believe you're gonna win, what can I tell you that would make you stop? All I know is that you're not gonna win, and that in the end, all wins are gonna be future losses. But until you've proven that to yourself, there's nothing I can do. So instead of advice, what I'll tell you is just remember the page, and if it reaches the point that you're ready, please come back. I was telling myself, why can't I control myself and make small bets like a normal person? Why do we need to play enormous amounts of money and not be normal? Because we've developed a tolerance for the amount that we were betting, but we don't go back to betting small amounts because it no longer feels the same. When you've developed this tolerance for gambling, it actually feels like you have to bet big to feel okay. So betting small is actually going to be more painful than not betting at all. That's what we reach as gambling addicts. Um, but it's the great desire of all gambling addicts to be able to gamble normally or go back to a normal way of gambling. It just doesn't happen. So I'm sorry to tell you, but it's not achievable. With all the billions of dollars invested in gambling, do I ever worry about my safety while speaking against these huge companies? No. Like, I feel like it would be worse publicity for me to be taken out by one of these companies than it is me yapping to 35,000 people. Um, they're making enough money regardless of what I say. Uh, But no, I'm not particularly worried about it. I actually would genuinely welcome any kind of lawsuit against me because the amount of publicity that it would give the message is incredible. But in terms of like physical threats, no, I'm not concerned, my friend. Many people say that corn addiction is the worst addiction ever. What do you think separates these two addictions? I don't know that any addiction is necessarily the worst. I think addiction is just addiction. But what makes a gambling addiction particularly problematic is that it's the only one where you can convince yourself that doing more of the addiction will resolve all of the pain from the addiction. Like an alcoholic wouldn't think, if I drink this fifth of vodka, like everyone's going to forgive me in my life. But a gambling addict can think, if I get a big win, I can pay off my debts and then everyone will love me again. I'll buy them nice things. So I think it's the disease that kind of enables you to think that it's the solution to the problems that it creates. And I think that's the big danger of it. I'm a gambling addict, lost a lot of money on poker, watch your videos and find hope in it. I'm happy that you're here, my friend. If you relapse, just figure out why it happened. Use it so that you can say, like, I relapsed because I was bored. Okay, next time I'm bored, I will do this instead. Like, you have to look at the relapse and kind of take notes on it, learn from it so that you can move forward. I never had a VIP host. I bounced around on a lot of different books. Um, Most fulfilling part of doing content, is it to spread the message or helping others? When I started, the reason that I started making videos was because I was going to my group meetings and this guy stopped showing up that was pretty close in age to me. If you've ever gone to a GA meeting, like you'll know what I'm getting at here. I was the youngest person by like 50 years without this guy there. And so I noticed that he wasn't there. And I gave him a call and I said, "Hey man, what's going on?" He had gone back to gambling because of some own personal problems. And I said, "Listen, man, you don't want to make the same mistakes that I just made." And I kind of walked through my story of what happened the last day that I gambled. And something clicked for him and he came back in and he got some help from that point. And so I was like, "Wow, that feels really good." Like, I helped him come back in. I didn't cure him. I'm not making him come in, but he's getting some value from something that I said. Let me record that, put it online. And so I did. And the video is still up here on YouTube. It was really, really bad. And no one really watched it at first, and that's okay. Um, but through some trial and error, we reached a point where it started to feel like it was making a difference. And that's why I show up each and every day and I make the content that I make, because I can't cure you. I can't make you stop. But if you are someone that feels like gambling is the answer to your problems, I hope that hearing stories like mine and like the ones we feature on this channel prove that it's not the case. So that's what I hope. Owning Mahoney is the one that a lot of people recommended to me, and I think it was probably the closest. So I'm going to be wrapping it up there for the night, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you watched on Facebook or on YouTube, please do me a favor and consider subscribing and or following, depending on where you watched. Hopefully you can see some content that helps out, and hopefully I didn't just waste a bunch of your time. So thank you for being here, for asking questions, and let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.